All right, and welcome everyone to today's workbook lesson in A Course in Miracles. And we're on lesson 108 today. And my name is Oliver Blue, and I am going to be your guide today as we take another giant step, another giant leap up the ladder, up the ladder of awakening, up the ladder of awareness, up the ladder of salvation. What else can I call it? Up the ladder of salvation, consciousness, awakened consciousness, up the ladder of reality. How about that one? Up the ladder of truth. And all of these are what? One and the same. Up the ladder of forgiveness, of happiness, of joy and peace. Up the ladder of everything that is real. And I am so excited to be your host today. And we're going to get right on into lesson 108. And just a reminder that these workbook lesson commentaries are being sponsored by Truly Foundation, a nonprofit organization that is deeply devoted to the awakening of humanity, that is deeply devoted to the sharing of advanced spirituality, that is deeply devoted to the will of God, that is vigilant about God and God's kingdom, God's plan, God's awareness being made known to all. And that's what Truly Foundation is about. And we're glad that we're able to be used in such a way so that we can help others wake up and be relieved from all pain and suffering, all illusions, until every illusion that we give credence to is removed. That is our purpose, because that is the will of love. And so this morning we're going to look at and stay in the framework of truth where we've been for the last 3 lessons. And I can remind you that we says, let me be still and listen to the truth, was lesson 106. Listen to the truth. And lay aside the ego voice. Listen to the truth. Because the truth can be heard. Then lesson 107 says, truth will correct every error in our minds. It is truth that transforms. And it is the truth from from reality, the truth that is of love, that is of God, that is of the one. The truth that has always been and can never be altered. It's the unalterable, the unadulterated reality as far as who we are, as far as our true identity. And then today we're going to look at to give and to receive are one in truth, meaning that giving and receiving are one act, or two sides of the same coin. It is one act in truth. It is one in truth. To engage one is to engage the other. To pick up one end of the stick is to pick up the other, because they are the same. Giving and receiving is the same. When you understand in this metaphysical system of thinking, which Paul calls the mind of Christ, traditional religion says the mind of God, or it's the mind of Christ, or it's Christ consciousness, or Christ awareness, however you want to put it. Again, we don't get stuck on, we've been doing this long enough now, 108 days, we don't get stuck on terminology. It is the idea that we're after, not the terminology. And the idea is a reflection of the original thought, or every thought of God. So in every thought of God, there is only one. In every thought of God, there is only one. In every thought of God, there are no opposites. In every thought of God, there's only the one law, the law of love, or the law of God. In every thought of God. In every thought of God, there's this oneness, this unification that cannot be infiltrated, cannot be broken. Heaven remains intact. God remains intact. Truth remains intact. Love remains intact. It needs no defense. It can't be evaded. It can't be changed. It's eternal. All the attributes we talked about. It is birthless. It's deathless. It creates like itself. It is truth. It's reality. I got my list here to remind myself. It's unalterable. It can be unrecognized, but it can't be changed. It's everything that God created. And only God in love creates reality. It is beyond learning. It can only be experienced. So this is the truth that we're talking about. The truth that transforms. Jesus said, I am the truth, the way, and the life. He was just representing, he was referring not to him as a person, but what he is in terms of what? The creation of God, a timeless, formless representation of that which is what? Eternal, that which is infinite. Every thought of God. A God idea, only God idea. We are a God idea. And it's a fact. It's a matter of fact. We are a matter of fact, and it can't be changed. So to give and receive are one. They're saying, so within this oneness, giving and receiving is one act of love. So within the thought system, within the reality, all things are reconciled into unification. There is no division at all. The idea of division doesn't even exist in God or in love or in oneness. It doesn't exist. The idea of oneness, the idea of division is an illusion. The idea of division is an illusion. It's a false alternative. There are no alternatives. So it poses as an alternative. There is no false alternative. The only alternative there is to fall out of what? To fall into oblivion. Like to fall into a dream, or to fall into fantasy, or to fall into hallucination. Or maybe we introduce the word today, oblivion, which doesn't exist. The Course generally says that which is not real does not exist. So to fall into the land of the non-existence, so of oblivion, not even to be known or to be remembered. So giving and receiving, or to give and to receive, are one in truth. It's one act of love. In other words, the act of giving is the same act of receiving, because there's only one of us. So whatever we give, we're giving to ourselves. Whatever we're receiving from ourselves. Whatever we give to another, we're giving to ourselves. Whatever we're receiving from another, we're receiving it from ourselves, because it is one in truth. It's one in truth. There is no such thing in truth of giving and someone losing, of their giving for giving and there be a loss. There's no loss in giving. There's no depreciation in giving. There is no devaluing in giving. What is given is what is received. What is given is always what is received. That's what creation is. God gave himself. And so in return, God received what himself. So there's only, again, the one self that we share. This is what I've been hammering for 108 days. There is only one self. And that's self, self with the big S, self, which represent what? Reality, is the one self that we all are a part of. There's no duality in the one big S self. There's only the one. And there's always only been the one. Just like your body. Your body is not divided. It's one body. But there's what? Many parts. There's many what? Many expressions of the body. Many body parts. But in every part, what? Every part supports the other part. Okay? So what we give to one, the other is received within the one. That's kind of the idea, and Paul uses that illustration in several of his dissertations in the New Testament. And so this is the idea that we're going to explore today, that giving and receiving are one in truth. And this is an advanced idea that we must capture, we must understand as we progress in this mind training exercise that we're going through. And it's going to make more and more sense as we go on. And it's totally different, totally opposed, totally opposite than what we have been taught from the world of separation. Because we're taught from the world of separation that if you give something, then you're without it. And then someone else receives it and they're with it. So their receiving is your loss and your giving is their gain. That's what kind of how we think of giving and receiving. However, in reality, to give and to receive is one. In truth, it's one act of love. So vision depends on, so our ability to have this awareness, which the Course calls vision. This awareness, this vision depends upon today's idea. Vision. Us having vision depends upon today's idea that we capture the reality that giving and receiving is the same. So true vision depends on us understanding this. It says the light is in it, is in the idea. The light or the understanding or the awareness, all right, or the illumination of what vision is within the idea of oneness. Receiving and giving and receiving is one act. It says the light is in it, for it reconciles all seeming opposites. So in the world of perception, we know that there's opposites. There's up and down, in and out, hot and cold, right, in this perceptual world. But in reality, there are no opposites. And so the idea that we're bringing forth today is a way to reconcile the seeming opposites in our way of thinking. It says, and what is light except the resolution, born of peace, of all our conflicts and mistaken thoughts into one concept, which is wholly true. So we reconcile all of the conflict, all of the opposite, all of the confusion, all of the chaos. All of that can be reconciled or brought into what? Brought into what? Brought into one place, brought into one into one visualization, into one realization. So this is a way that we reconcile the confusion. We reconcile all of the division and separation that we experience within the dream. All of the differences. How do you reconcile all of this different stuff in the world? All the different people, all the different places, all the different things. How do you reconcile that, Oliver, and say that it's one? How can it be? Paul said that what? God was in Christ reconciling what? The world unto himself. That's saying the same thing. God was in Christ. One act of giving and receiving produced a reconciliation of everything into the one thing. That is really, if we can just get that scriptural reference understanding, then we got it. So what you're saying here is that what? He says, even that one will disappear because the thought behind it will appear instead to take its place. So here, we're being taken on a metaphysical journey. We're being invited into the mind of God. The mind of God where there's only oneness. This is an invitation to think differently. This is an invitation for us to what? To perceive differently, because this is the mind of God. This is the way God thinks. This is the way reality is. It's a one and all. And an all in one. But we have been so highly developed, highly trained in multiplicity, in differences, in separation and division, which leads us away from reality. But it takes us going beyond the 5 physical sensory tools that we have to relate to this world, to go beyond that into our invisible faculties and our invisible capacity, our intuition, our insight, our ability to understand and become aware, our ability to be conscious to something that is ever present. So the knowledge or the infinite intelligence that we're being invited to commune with here in this lesson and in all these lessons is calling us to a higher vibrational awareness, a higher place of understanding and reasoning. Calling us to the light that we are. Let's go up a little higher. Let's think beyond the mundane of this world. That's what the invitation is in this lesson and in all the lessons. And it is bringing light to the reality that giving and receiving is one act of love. It is the same thing. And until we see it as the same, until we reconcile it as it not being opposite, as we grab the true perception or the vision that is being put before us, that we realize that there is a higher state of awareness. There's a higher state of mind that is so unified and so the same without any opposites, that we have to leave our ancient way of thinking and reconnect, be transformed, by the making new of our mind to a new way of thinking. Not a new way, but the only way, the only real way of thinking that's always been there. but that got what? Covered up, layered over by the training of the world. And so it says, and now we are at peace forever through this reconciliation, through this experience of no conflict, through this experience of all things being reconciled, through this experience of being aware that there are no opposites, that all things are the one thing. When we grasp this level of thinking, this level of understanding, and we use it now to see into reality, we see everything differently. We no longer are seeing, but we're what? We have a vision. We have God's vision, or we have true perception, as the Course will label it. The ability now what? To operate within what? In the world and not be of the world. And Jesus, when Jesus showed up as a man in this world, he thought completely different. And the world was afraid of his way of thinking. The world was afraid of what his thoughts represented, of what his thoughts uncovered. And so it says true light. So true light is in this idea. True vision, true reconciliation, true oneness. It says this light that makes true vision, what light? That light, what? The light that giving and receiving is one in truth. That's enlightenment. This recognition of the reconciliation that what of giving and receiving is one act. It says this light, this understanding, this revelation. It says this awareness that makes true vision possible is not the light that body's eyes behold. This is not what the natural man beholds. This is not what the natural man understands. In our natural proclivity, all we see is separation and division and multiplicity. All we see is difference. All we see is opposites. All we see is polarity. Because this world is built on polarity, on opposites, opposite poles, opposite directions, opposites. Everything is built into it. Opposition or opposite. And there is no opposition in heaven. There's no opposition in love. There's no opposition or opposites in God. There are no two in God. There's only one. That's only one. So it's not you and God. It's not God in you. But it's just what? It's just the I am. It's just the one self that we're all part of. Is this making sense? It requires you to look beyond what the eyes can see, to look beyond what the ears can hear, and reunite with the one vision that exists only, the awareness of love's presence, the awareness of oneness, the awareness of all things being what? The one thing. It's called reconciliation. So it's beyond what the natural eye can behold, what we're talking about here. It is a state of mind that has become so unified that darkness cannot be perceived at all. So when we become fully aware of our awareness, we become fully awakened to our true consciousness. When we become fully enlightened, when we fully recognize and embrace the oneness that we are with the only oneness that is. and we embrace it as ours because it is ours. It's our reality. God is our only reality. Love is our only reality. And be willing to what? To be willing to turn completely away from all illusions. The effect of that is what? It is a state of mind that has become so unified that darkness cannot be perceived at all. And so now what? We operate in this awakened state in the world, but we're not of it. We were not born of it. We'll no longer have any credence in it, but we're in it, but we're not of it. In it for what purpose? To shine the light that we are. To be an illumination for all others. To come back to this awareness that is their identity. To their shared self. And thus, what is the same is seen as one. And thus, that which is the same is seen as one. So, giving in this light, giving and receiving is one act. It's one act of love. It's one activity of love. It's one communion of love. And thus, what is the same is seen as one, while what is not the same remains unnoticed. For it is not there. So, in other words, we no longer would give any value or credence to the unreal. We give no credence to it. We give no value to it. We give no allegiance to it. We don't endorse it anymore. We're not what? No longer are we what? Creatures of what we made. We're no longer creatures of that which is what? The false self. This is the what? Being transformed. This is the what? Not being conformed. The conformity is what we unnotice. The transformation, the renewed mind, which we call truth and light and vision and reconciliation and oneness and unification and sameness, where there's no opposites. This becomes our what? This becomes our truth. This becomes our mechanism by which we experience everything. In this sameness, in this oneness, in this place of non-opposition, we're giving and receiving. It's all one and the same. So there is no loss. There is no loss. There's no reason to fight. There's no reason to be concerned. It says, this is the light that shows no opposites. This is the illumination. This is the enlightenment. This is the recognition that shows no opposites and vision. So the vision is what? There are no opposites. This new vision that we have is what? There are no opposites. There's only the one. And this being healed, this is what a healed mind looks like. This is what a mind that has been healed looks like. This is what a world that has been healed, this is what it looks like. But this mind that's been healed, it also what has the power to heal. So this renewed mind is a healed mind, and it has what? The power to what? Heal. It has received its healing. Now it has the power to what? Give healing. See, it's one and the same. We can only give what we have received. That's why it's so important to find a source of mentoring, a source of coaching, a source of guidance. That's a healed source. If you've been guided by an unhealed source, an unhealed healer, if you've been guided by that which is not healed, then how can you be healed? How can you receive healing? You can only receive what has been given. And the Course says there's so many unhealed healers that are out in the world. People that are what? Positioning themselves as healers. And they're not healed themselves. They don't carry this vision within themselves of oneness. They carry the vision of specialness. And so they promote one over another, one over another. They only promote division and separation. And a lot of us are, use that basis for our learning and believing. And no wonder we're not healed. No wonder we're still suffering mentally, emotionally. No wonder we're still harboring anger and unforgiveness and grievances and resentments. Because number one, we're not healed. The sources that we've used to go to be healed, they're not healed. So where is the healing? Where is the healing? Where is the correction? Well, the correction is in the truth. And that's why we're in these lessons. This is the light that shows no opposite. And vision, being healed, has power to heal. This is the light that brings our peace of mind to other minds. A healed mind brings what? Peace of mind to other minds. To share it and be glad that they are one with us and with themselves. So in gladness, in joy, when we wake up to the reality of this shared oneness, this shared being, when we wake up to the reality that giving and receiving is the same, very vital that we understand this. The same in truth. It is our delight, to share it. It's our delight to extend it. Why? We know why. Because that's all we can extend. That's all we can share. Because that becomes what we know. That becomes all that we know. And it says, this is the light that heals because it brings single perception. See, we're moving from multiplicity. We're moving to a single perception, a single interpretation that has its basis in truth, in light, in reconciliation, in oneness, in vision, in a state of mind. That is the Christ mind, in unification, in sameness where there's no opposites. So this is what is called single perception, based upon one frame of reference from which one meaning comes. And what's the frame of reference? What's the point of view? We're coming from the point of view that God is, and there is nothing else. That love is, and there is nothing else. There's only the one. There's no opposites. There's no separation. There's no division. We all are the one self, same self that we all share. And it is from that point of reference. It is from that point of view. It is from that single perception or reality, may I say, from which what one meaning comes. So now you're seeing where it's telling us that this is so important that we grasp the reality of this lesson that's been presented to us today, that we say yes to the invitation to reconnect with our reality, because that's what we're doing when we embrace this. We're saying yes to the invitation to leave the prodigal world and return to heaven, to return to our home, to return to love, return to God, to return to ourself, to walk away from the insanity, to walk away from the impossibility, to walk away from all illusions. This is the invitation. It says, here are both giving and receiving seen. It says, here are both giving and receiving seen as different aspects of one thought, whose truth does not depend on which is seen as first, nor which appears to be in second place. Why? Because there is no first and there is no second. There's only the one. First and second is only in the world of illusion. First and second is only in a world that is built on separation. First and second only exist in a non-existence. In reality, in heaven, in God, in love, in you, what really only exists is the one thought, the one idea, the God idea, love's idea, that we are what? We share the one thing. There is but the one thing. That's why there's what? Equality. That's why there's what? Innocence. Always. In the presence of love. In the presence of love, there's only oneness. There's only innocence. There's no guilt. There's no sin. There's no judgment. These are all effects of a mind that believe that it is split in two and is no longer joined with its original creator. It's where all of that idea come from. And we've been taught it royally. We all have masters in believing in separation. We all have master's degrees. But all that master degree did was take us away from the truth. And now we're reuniting with that which is true. So we give up our degrees. Because in heaven there is no degrees. There's only the one. See, degree, that word degree itself denotes separation or differences, opposites. But in heaven, there is no degrees, there's no levels. There's no versions, it's only one. This is the whole idea here now, the one thought. So here it is understood that both occurs together. Everything occurs together. Giving and receiving occurs together. That the thought remains complete. It is incomplete thought to think that one happens independent of the other. It says, and in this understanding is the base on which all opposites are reconciled. In this understanding, that both occur together. Giving and receiving is one act of love. When you give, you are receiving. When you're receiving, you're giving. It is in this understanding on which all opposites are reconciled into one, because they are perceived from the same frame of reference, which unifies this one thought. So huge here that we understand that only the thought of God is reality. And the only thought of God is oneness. That is our only reality. Though we have the experience of two-ness and three-ness and four-ness. And even in that experience, when you take this thought to that experience, it's all the same. All of the content of the experience, it's all the same. It's all one. It's all part of the one thought. This is huge. This lesson today is huge, that we understand this, so we can quit fighting against it. It says, because they are perceived from the one frame of reference. So in this perceptual world, the way we now perceive is from this one frame of reference, which is reconciliation, which is oneness, which is unification of everything. Now we see everything as the one thing. We look past forms. We look past the form. We look past the feeling. We look past the past. And now we see things for what they are. Remember when very early in our training, we say, everything I see don't mean anything. Now, why? Because we were not seeing anything from the one thing. We were only seeing from the past, our past understanding. Now, that understanding has passed. We have allowed that to pass to embrace the present without any blocks to its true awareness. It says one thought completely unified. One unified thought will serve to unify all thoughts. This is the same as saying that one correction will suffice for all corrections, or that to forgive one brother wholly and completely is enough to bring salvation to all minds. For these are but some special cases of the one law, which holds for every kind of learning. It is to be directed by the one self who knows the truth. And we are what? We are that one self that knows the truth, or we are part of that. We share in that one self that knows the truth. So to learn that giving and receiving are the same has special usefulness. So when we understand this, and in that understanding that giving and receiving is the same, it has special usefulness, because now it can be applied across the board of opposites. Where we think we see an opposite, we apply the understanding that it's all the same. There is no opposite. It's become useful because it can be tried so easily and seen as true. And when this special case has proved that it always works, and it does, there is but the one. There is no opposite. Up and down, in and out, north and south, it's all the same. It's a matter of perception. It's a matter of point of reference, of point of view. What point of view are you using? Separation or oneness? It says, and when this special case is proved to always work in every circumstance, notice now, no exception, where it is tried, the thought behind it can be what? Generalized. What is the one thought? The thought of oneness can be generalized to other areas of doubt and double vision. The one thought of God has the capacity, to what? Heal or to prove its validity in every situation, in every circumstance. So we are never without the counsel of God, is what he's saying here. We're never without the counsel of love. We're never without the guidance of reality. The only thing that doesn't make it available to us in every moment is our decision to turn away from it. Because it is everywhere present. It says, and from there, it will extend. So the one thought, the one reality, once realized, once joined with, it extends itself. You see, from there it will extend and finally arrive at the one thought, which underlies them all. There's the one thought that underlies all thoughts. We are one with God. We are one with everything. And everything is one with us. And this is our reality. This is the light that lighteth the whole world. To bring the world into what? Bring the world. Bring the falsity. Bring the lie. Bring the illusion to this light, to this truth. So that it may be what? That it may be healed or corrected. It corrects all things. This one thought corrects all things. When you embrace the one thought of the oneness of the shared self, when you embrace it as your own, everything becomes one. Opposition is nowhere, but in a mind of separation from that point. Well, you and I can now enjoy the vision of God's vision, true perception, and look past all the illusions. In a world of illusions, we can be able to look past it now. Hallelujah. And be the substance of what people have hoped for, and be the evidence of what is not seen. We become the symbol of that, the symbol of reality. And we shine brightly among all the illusions that's in the world. And we're able to we are not only a representation of the fact that we're healed, but we're here to heal and to shine away all the illusions in all of our brothers and sisters. We're able to do that. I know this is kind of, this is not elementary stuff we're talking about here. It says, so today we practice with the special case of giving and receiving. We will use this simple lesson in the obvious because it has results that we cannot miss. It becomes quite obvious that what you give to another, you give to yourself. You already been practicing that. Well, you already been experiencing that. But you've been experiencing in a way that has brought suffering and pain to you. Not knowing that it's the same. Not knowing that it is the one thing. And so we've allowed our minds to be used to give what we don't want to receive, and to receive what we have given. And we wonder, why am I experiencing this? But when we look now through the lens, through this one framework, from this framework of oneness, from this point of view of love, we see how we've been doing it to ourselves, by the way we've been thinking about ourselves, the way we've been thinking about others, by what we've been saying to ourselves and what we've been saying to others. We've been saying the opposite of the truth. And we've been getting the opposite of the truth, and wonder why we're getting it. Now we know why. We thought giving and receiving was two different acts. It's one act. It's one act. What we forgive ourselves. What we have patience with, we have patience with ourselves. What we be gentle with, we have gentleness with ourselves. Everything. Every wayward way that we've been, every opposite that we have we have took ownership of, every way of being that we have took ownership of, that has its basis in separation. That's what we've been sharing with ourselves. That's what we've been sharing with others. That's why the chaos. That's why the confusion. That's why the kill or be killed. That's why humanity is in the state of mind that it is in. That's why you see what's happening in the world. That's where it's coming from. It's coming from a belief, a tiny mad idea that started this whole thing, to send all of us on a prodigal journey into nothingness, into chaos, into confusion, into pain and suffering, into lack and fear and death, into hatred and resentment. All of the darkness that we see, that's where it's coming from. It's not coming from out there. It's coming from our state of mind. And these lessons are here to heal the mind that thought it separated. It's the healing of the mind. It's the healing of the belief in separation. That's the only problem, and that's the only things that need to be solved. Not buy more guns, buy more bullets, separate more, divide more, not hoard more. The things that we're doing to try to stay in a survival mode, they're not working. You notice they're not working. The haves and the have-nots are just getting greater in terms of material things. And the haves think they're in a better position than the have-nots, but in reality, they're not. They're suffering even more. The ones that are making the decisions about whether to fight or whether to be at peace, they're suffering even more. They're looking for some peace of mind too, and they think they can get it through fighting and winning while others lose. And they don't realize that what they're giving, they're receiving, and they're confused about it. What seems simple in the natural becomes chaotic, and they don't understand why it's not working. Because they're not understand that what they're working with is not true. They're working with self-destruction. The way they're thinking is a way of self-destruction. And some get to the point where they feel like, well, if we could take more of them out of here, we'll have more peace. And it doesn't work that way. So now you see why the foolish chaos is going on, even right now, on this, 29th day of April, 2022, where everybody is doubling down on their guns and their tanks and their missiles and all this talk of, World War III, all this talk of what we'll just double down. We'll just, we're gonna. It is not gonna work. You're doing it to yourself. Every missile you decide to shoot, you're shooting yourself. Because what you why? Because you're opposed to the law of oneness. The law of oneness is going to prevail. It has always prevailed. And when we embrace, when we reconnect, when we when we transcend, or when we what? When we transform to reality. When we transform by what? The way we understand, by the renewing of our mind. Then we'll be able to what? Prove what is that what? Perfect, that good and perfect what? Excellent will of God. Because we'll be the what? We will be the substance of that. So the solution to everything is in the one thing. It's in the truth that sets us free. And so today we practice with this special case of giving and receiving. We will use this simple lesson in the obvious because it has results that we cannot what? Deny or miss. To give and to receive. To give is to receive. To give is to receive. So what we give to our brother, we give to ourselves. What you give to anything, you're giving it but to the one self. Today we will attempt to offer peace to everyone. So today in our practice, we're going to offer what? Peace. Why? Because we're giving peace to ourselves. We realize that now. So we offer peace to everyone and see how quickly peace returns to us. Light is tranquility. And we all see what? A tranquil heart, a tranquil mind. A mind that's what? At peace. A mind that is at rest. A mind that is what? All certain and all confident. That God is, and there is nothing else. That I am. Because God is, and God is because I am. And we're all one and the same. And it says what? That's that light or that understanding or that enlightenment brings what? A tranquil heart, a tranquil mind. Jesus said over there in the gospel that what? He says what? Only the pure in heart shall see God. What are you talking about, the pure in heart? Only the light that brings tranquility, the understanding of oneness. Only that. It's in the understanding. It's in the enlightenment. It's one that recognizes. It's one that what? Has a consciousness. It's one that has what? An awareness. And is aware of the truth that is true always. So it's in the awareness. What are you aware of? It says light is tranquility. And in that peace is vision given. So peace. So vision, Christ's vision, the vision that God is, the ability to see as God sees, is within the understanding. It's in the peaceful understanding. It's in the peace of understanding that we can absolutely rest. We can rest in the truth. We can rest in the reality of oneness. We don't have to be concerned. That is the only real thing. All other things are passing away. Everything else is passing away. It's being what? It is being what? It is running out of time. Time will run out before eternity will. The lie will run out before the truth will. So we don't have to what? Get so caught up into the world's interpretation of the world's perception of what's going on. They don't know, but they want to know. And they will come to know as we what? As we hold this reality, as we hold this light, as we what? As we experience this tranquility, as we what? In peace, hold the vision, as we see the face of Christ in everything. It says, vision is given us, and we can what? And we can see. But we're not seeing with our eyes. We're seeing with our awareness. We're seeing with our awareness. We're seeing with our self, our big S self. We're seeing with our what? Conscious, awakened, conscious self. We see. We are in the know. And so we begin the practice periods with the instructions for today. And we say it to ourselves. To give and to receive is one in truth. Now we understand what it's saying. To forgive and to receive is one. And that's in truth. And I will receive what I am giving right now. What are you giving right now? We're giving what? We're giving the light of tranquility. We're giving the peace of the vision. We're giving that which we're receiving. We're the light of the world. So we're giving light. We're giving what? Recognition, awareness, consciousness to the whole world. So then close your eyes and for 5 minutes, think of what you would hold out to everyone, or what you would give to everyone to have it as yours, because now we know that what we're giving, we're receiving. So what would you give to yourself is the question. What would you have yourself to experience? He says, give that out, because that's what you're going to experience. It said, so we might say, for instance, what? To everyone, I offer what? Quietness. To everyone, I offer what? Peace of mind. Why? Because that's what I want. I want quietness. I want tranquility. I want peace of mind. To everyone, I offer what? Gentleness, because I want gentleness. I offer what? I offer what? Contentment. I offer fulfillment. To everyone, I offer what? Completeness, wholeness, holiness. To everyone, I offer what? Abundance. To everyone, I offer what? Oneness. Why? Because that is what I have to give as a healed healer. That's the only thing I have to offer. I no longer have illusions to offer. I no longer have any separation to offer you. I have it because I don't have it to offer to myself. I'm one in truth. Giving and receiving is what? See, one in truth. Because we're now, through awareness, through transformation, we're one in truth. We understand this now. So this is the way we operate. This is the way we perceive. This is the way we love. So say each one of these slowly, and then pause a while, expecting to what? Receive the gift you gave. And it will come to you in the amount in which you gave it. You will find you have exact return, for that is what you ask. It might be helpful also to think of one to whom to give your gift. So think of that one that may be in the past. You thought you was giving something that you didn't want for yourself to them. Now think of that one, because you know that what you was giving them, you was receiving at the same time with the same measure. Like Jesus says, with what measure we meet is being what measured back to us. That's what he meant. With what measure we give, it's the measure that we're going to receive. So how much love are you giving? How much kindness are you giving? How much patience are you giving to another? How much judgment are you giving? How much resentment, or how much what? Grievances are we what? Withholding. Give them love. That's why he says what? bless them that curse you. That's why he said, give to your enemy. That's what he's talking about. He understood the oneness of reality. And it sounds crazy just reasoning it from a mind that's separate. And Jesus said, love your enemy. Pray for them that despitefully use you. Pray for them that just won't do right. Pray for them that, is always coming, asking, wanting to take. Pray for them. Give to them. If they actually go a mile, he said, go two. See, that's why he understood this. Because what? That's what he knows you're going to receive. Giving and receiving is one. So he was teaching us this principle. But at the same time, the world was teaching us this principle. Teaching us the opposite to this principle. That giving and receiving was two different things. It says, you will find that you have exact return. He said, you will find that you have the exact return, for that is what you ask. It might be helpful too to think of one to whom to give your gifts, because that one represents all the others. And through him, you give to all the others. So think of the one that you may not have whole fond thoughts about, that one that you may have in the past treated differently, that has just been a pain to you. That is the one that we need to offer these gifts, because that is the one that we were offering what we didn't want, and we were still receiving it. Don't take but one exception. And we wonder why it's not working, because of the one exception. We can be perfect, even as what our Father who is in heaven is perfect. We can do this. We can be this. We can do it easily now, because we have what? Enlightenment. We have understanding. We can easily love all ours. It's love your neighbor. We can easily love all humanity. Even the most what? Even the one that is demonstrating extreme acts of not being very loving. The most extreme one. That one. The one that's most extreme right now. What you see that is most extreme in the world. That may be what emanating from one person or one group. That you kind of absolutely abhor. That is the one you need to offer your gifts to. Because now we're operating in a system of oneness. We're no longer operating in a system of duality. And so it doesn't matter what they're doing or why they're doing it. We know why they're doing it, but it doesn't matter what they're doing it. Why? Because there's no order of difficulty in miracles. What's a miracle? There's no order of difficulty that can't be corrected. There's not one situation in the world right now that we see going on that appear to be out of control that can't be corrected, that can't be healed. So what are we going to be instruments of what? Healing? Or we're going to be instruments of what? Instrument of perpetuating the same insanity. I choose to be what? An instrument of healing. And so, Father, right now, I offer peace. I offer understanding, enlightenment. I offer forgiveness. I offer correction. I offer repentance. I offer peace. I offer awareness. To all the world. Those that are in position of authority, those that are in leadership position, those that are heads of nation, I offer this to them in this moment. I offer it to the least to the greatest. It's like Jesus said, as much as you have done this to these, my brother, you've done it to what? Me. See? So whatever we offer, we're offering to the one. And we offer only love. Love only. We teach only love. We demonstrate only love. Because love is all there is. We're no longer slaves to the unloving. We're no longer slaves to the separated and the undivided. We're no longer slave to the ego thought system. But all of our credence, all of our allegiance, all of our endorsements is into the one thought, is into the one God, the one love that we all share. And that has power to what? Heal this world. So, our very simple lesson for today will teach us much. It's a very simple lesson, but it teaches much. Effect and cause, or cause and effect, will be far between. Oh, let me restate that. Cause and effect, or effect and cause, will be far better understood from this time on. From this understanding, from the simplicity of what we've been taught today, of only oneness, we also will better understand the concept of what cause and effect. They're one and the same. You pick up one end of the stick, the other end comes up too. It's only one stick. Two aspects of one stick happening at the same time. And we will make much faster progress now. This is what the advanced teaching is about, to make progress. It's a progressive way of understanding. Glory to glory. We move from one understanding to another understanding, from glory to glory. This is us operating within our reality now. This is what we should be doing. This is the way we should be expanding our awareness, expanding our understanding, expanding our experience. As we expand our awareness, as we expand our understanding, as we expand our consciousness, we expand our experience. In other words, our results will be different. Because when we pick up one end of the stick, we pick up the other. We pick up different results. When we pick up a healed mind, we pick up what? The power to heal. So our progress will be faster through this understanding as we now move to lesson 109 tomorrow, where it says what? We rest in God. Now we can what? Rest. That's just a rest that God said, what? There's a rest for the people of God. There's a rest for humanity. And we should labor to what? Enter into that rest. That rest comes through enlightenment. It comes through awareness, consciousness. See? That's where it comes. It comes through what? A return to the self. And so think of the exercises for today as quick advances in our learning. So we do this today. We think and we embrace that giving and receiving is one act in truth, and we receive what we are giving right now. So this is quick advances in our learning. And they're made still faster and more such each time that we say, I give, and we advance even much faster in our learning as we say today, to give and to receive is one in truth. That is our lesson. To give and to receive is one in truth. Mm. We are progressing. We are advancing. If you're sticking with this process, if you're being vigilant about this process, if you're serious about this process, you're advancing, you're progressing. You are entering into the land of peace, the land of tranquility, the land of what? Light, the land of truth, the land of happiness. Oh, if you're still hanging around. And if you're not, I offer you that today. I offer you to continue with us as we transform and heal the mind that thought it was separate. And we replace it with that which was there all the time. So we just remove the veil. We remove the blocks to the awareness of what? Love's presence. Love is always what? Always present. It can't not be present. It is all there is. Woo! Thank you, Lord. All right, look, I'm going to stop this because I am getting so caught up. I'm getting caught up. I am getting caught up. All right. We are knowing the truth, and the truth is what? The truth that we are knowing is setting us in a place of freedom, a place of contentment, a place of fulfillment, a place of absolute radiant aliveness. Absolute radiant aliveness. Okay, I gotta go. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace.